Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Black Girls Make Music. My name is Leisha Renice, and I am here with the lovely Kyla Simone. And today, today we're going to be talking about a few things. But first, I want to let you introduce yourself.
So my name is Kyla Simone. I am a singer, songwriter, and guitarist. I'm also the founder of Girls and Guitars Official, which is an organization for other female singer-songwriter and guitarists to develop their skill set, to have opportunities to showcase their skills, and also grow as a community.
I love that. So how we want to get things started off here is by shouting out a woman in your life, someone who's encouraging you or inspiring you, someone that you just want to spotlight. So who is that person and why?
So I would have to easily say her name is Jennifer Bliss. She's actually my guitar instructor.
Ooh.
But every time we have our sessions, like they turn into these like empowerment sessions, and just like I would say she's like my therapist / guitar instructor, because we always get into life. You know, we touch and agree on a lot of things, and she gives me some really good like nuggets of encouragement. Because being an artist can be tough, and just being human can be tough sometimes. And, you know, I don't know if you know this, but typically women who do music, we wear our hearts on our sleeves, and we're very, especially women who play guitar for some reason, we're just very like, I don't know, like wordy and emotional and just, you know, filled. And so sometimes, you know, you just need someone to talk to. And so she's been that person for me, not just as an amazing guitar teacher and helping me to get to the next level as a guitarist, but just on a spiritual level, on just a friendship level. She's been a really great help in my journey as an artist.
I love that. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to get started on this interview, because you touched on a lot of things that I actually want to talk about. So let's get started. So I want to know, besides who you are in terms of music and I guess like organizations that you've started, who is Kyla?
I'm very like basic. The biggest thing about me is I'm artsy fartsy. So okay. I love anything art. Mm-hmm. So that's music, that's visual art. By trade, I'm a graphic designer. So that's what I do all day. 9 to 5 to pay the bills. And I'm a free spirit. I'm a believer. You know, I love the Lord, and I try my best to grow closer to him and just kind of really like lean on him for how to function as a human being, to make sure that I'm treating people right and doing, you know, being integral in all of these different things. So, you know, and I'm human, but I'm really striving to just be, you know, the type of person that loves people, and it shows in my actions and my behavior, and, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I'm real chill. I'm just real chill. I like to laugh. I crack a lot of jokes. And I love people. I really do. Yeah. Sometimes I'll be I can be introverted sometimes, but overall, I really love people. I have a heart for seeing people succeed, which is what my whole vibe has been about with Girls and Guitars.
That's beautiful. Would you say that you've always been this way since your childhood, or have you kind of evolved since then?
I want to say I've evolved, because as a child, I was more shy. I was more on the shy side. I always was involved in the arts in some way, because my mom is also a creative. But it wasn't probably until I was a little bit older that I kind of came out my shell some. And the guitar was actually one of those things that brought me out of my shyness. I still have some of it, but I don't really allow my fear and dislike of really being in front of people. I don't let it stop me from, you know, going forward. So I've grown a lot into someone who, even though I have a lot of fears and reservations, I try not to like let it keep me from, you know, doing what's on my heart and what I feel God is leading me to do. Because I don't want to live, you know, life with regret.
So how did you go from being so shy to being courageous? Like, what was that journey like for you, coming out of your shell? And I know a lot of people are afraid of failing in public. They're afraid of looking stupid or people judging them. And even though like they're just thoughts, like they can still be powerful. So how did you like get over that fear?
I wouldn't call it a getting over it because it's still there.
Yeah.
You know, we all want to be accepted. We all want, you know, for people to like us or like our art and all of that. But I think what it is that I got beyond. I learned to be okay if they don't. I learned to be okay if, you know, something happens. It's been so many times I've gotten on stage and like forgot my lyrics, or I tripped, or I hit my face on the mic, or like just dumb stuff that happens to you. I swear, like sometimes I feel accident prone because like the dumbest things happen. But I don't know. I just have gotten to a place where I'm just like, well, oh well. It's not the end of the world. Like to allow it to keep me from reaching my full potential it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So when you can get past kind of like other people's thoughts, expectations, and you know their desires for you or their criticisms of you and all of that, when you can get past that and you just love, and that's the other thing. I'm sorry, I don't want to be like
no, please.
But I learned I had to get back to a place because there was a time when I wanted to quit music, but I had to get back to a place where I liked music just for the art of it, not because I was trying to gig to death or, you know, like I just wanted to get back to the art of like enjoying songwriting, enjoying putting music out that empowers people. And when I kind of readjusted that, it made me not so, it's not that I don't have the energy to grind and that kind of thing, but it just helped me to put things in perspective and remember the why and what I'm doing. And that, you know, what I'm doing doesn't have to look like, you know, big artists out here, you know, killing it right now on the Grammys. And if that's what God has for me, then it'll happen. But if I focus on doing it for the art of it and just being obedient in my gift, like whatever doors God opens is going to happen.
I love that. I think, excuse me, I think about when I was younger and, you know, when people would ask, what is a successful artist, right? I would automatically go to like Destiny's Child or something. And I guess whoever was the end thing, right? And I thought that was the only way you can be successful. And so I didn't realize that I had been carrying along that definition of success or what it looks like to be an artist for so long until I became of age and was able to really pursue music. And it was really discouraging because I saw where I was and where I thought success would be. And I agree with you. Like I too had that, like, I just wasn't feeling music for a while because it wasn't because I didn't like it. It was just because I was like, well, what's the point? You know, if I'm not gonna, you know, be famous, then I'm just going to be a failure. And really finding that joy. I love that. I love that you had to go back and do it just for the art of it, you know, and be okay with that. And I'm pressing this point because I think a lot of people believe that in order to be successful, you have to be like at the Grammys, or you have to be signed to a label, or you have to be, you know, touring the country. And for a lot of people, they're successful in their own right. They're successful, period. They're just as successful as a person who is on the stage. And you don't have to be an artist who is pursuing these things to be a successful artist, if that makes sense. So
it's crazy because like one of my favorite artists is India.Arie.
Yeah.
She recently, you know, started kind of talking about openly in the public that, you know, about her retiring. Now, I don't know if she'll actually do it or not, but just wanted to focus on some other things in her life.
Okay.
And it's just interesting because, you know, she kind of pointed out she's done this, she's done that, she's had this many albums, she's had this many Grammys, et cetera, and so forth. You get to a place, I guess, where you're like, okay, what's next? You know?
Yeah.
I think that artists, just because you're successful or in the limelight, I should say, just because you're in the limelight and you're deemed to be to be successful in the limelight, does not make you a happy person.
Yeah.
It does not make you fulfilled. It does not make you content. Then you get to the very top, and then what? Right? Yeah. Left, you have to face yourself, right? You've been hustling all this time.
Right.
You've reached all the goals that you kind of had in mind. Now what? You know, people end up reinventing themselves and so many different things. And so I think that some of those artists would probably go back and say, man, I wish I had have learned to love music for the art of it and allow that to guide my course
Yeah.
rather than being so pressed to jump on a label that ended up ripping me off, or,
Oof.
all
Yeah.
the different war stories you would probably hear.
Yeah. Yeah. And to that point, I know we're like, but to that point, to be able to fit in those boxes, a lot of people tailor, like cut off pieces of themselves. You know what I mean? Like people are trying, if I have to be successful, I have to look like this, sound like this, do these things. When I really feel like God created each of us like to be individuals, our own unique voices, our own unique sounds, our own unique messages. And when we try to, again, fit in these boxes to be accepted by these people, we end up losing the essence. We end up losing the story. And I feel like once you lose the story, there is no point anymore. You're just kind of a pawn. You know what I mean? You're not yourself anymore. So I really want to ask you, like, how did you fall in love with music? I don't know if you are in love with music, but like, what was your first, I guess, interaction with music that you were like, this is something I actually want to pursue?
Wow. I sort of had no choice because music was just something that I was around. I come from, like a lot of artists, I come from a background of music, singers, artists, musicians, etc. I think that it was around maybe 2000 or so where, I had some years prior to that where I was like writing music for a choir I was in. So I got my feet wet, like writing, doing some writing for, others. And shortly after, I had decided that I wanted to do an album. So I went through that, and I like thought I loved music at that point, but that was an interesting scenario for me, and it was a big learning lesson for me as a new artist in the very early stages. So I ended up, you know, uh, running from music for a short time. I think that as the years beyond that progressed, um, I sort of did it because I hung around a bunch of music people and that kind of thing. So I had still not really developed like that. I love music, but it wasn't something I saw as for me as an artist, as an individual artist,
Yeah.
or so writing for other people, this, that, and the other. But once my mom, she bought me a guitar right before I went away to college. And once she did that, I think that's what sort of unlocked this sort of different style of music. And that's where I started to really like love music because it helped me to define who I was, as an artist, as a songwriter. And it brought me out of my shell, And so I would say that was like pivotal for me around college, and I was a late bloomer with the guitar, but, God's timing is never late.
Yes, absolutely.
So that was really my time. So to summarize,
No, you're
I
fine.
grew up around music. I enjoyed music. I loved writing and, engaging because I had a lot of friends that did music and family members that did music. So I loved it in that regard. But as far as it becoming like a core part of who I am, it happened once I had a guitar in my hand. And then it was just like a whole nother world for me.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it about the guitar? Like, what was it about it that I guess ignited something in you that wasn't there before?
So first, the guitar for me was sort of like a security blanket. So when I had to perform, it was almost like that thing I could hide behind, or it made me feel like I wasn't up there like by myself. As strange as that is, and I actually name my guitars like a lot of us do. So it was definitely like I would consider like a friend, in that regard. It something about the guitar allowed me to write from a very transparent mind frame. I was able to sort of unload in a different way. I don't know why or what sonically about the guitar does that. But it just unlocked a different like writing for me. It helped me to be able to have conversations with God, in a different way. Through music, and he really like spoke to me. I feel like some of the songs that I wrote, they were directly for me and what I was going through. So it cultivated like more of a spirit of intimacy between myself and with God.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the nature of that instrument. It's just something very that just about anybody can pick up a guitar
Mhm.
and learn how to play it. It's just a very friendly, warm, cozy instrument.
Yeah. It is. It is. It is. I definitely resonate with that when you're talking about something about that instrument. It almost creates like this atmosphere of intimacy. Because I'm learning how to play guitar. I'm not like I don't play. I'm learning, and so like I find myself like strumming and like just practicing chords and stuff like that. And while I'm strumming, like songs just come like and it is speaking to like what's on my heart, what I'm feeling in the moment, like sometimes it's not even words, but it's just like a feeling. You know what I mean? Like, not a completed idea, but just like this feeling. And so I definitely understand that. And so I also want to talk about when you mentioned being a late bloomer, right? Because I feel like within the industry standards, they say if you don't make it by the age of 27 or something or 25, that it's too late for you, right? And so I know personally, like I've struggled with oh no, like I'm 30. So I just turned 30 in January. And so I've been feeling like, oh God, am I irrelevant now? Like, is it too late for me? Is it too late for me to like to pursue music? Have you ever struggled with that? Like with the idea of being a late bloomer? And if so, how are you overcoming it? If not, then how do you avoid those thoughts?
Yeah, so initially, early on, I felt that way. Now I just really don't care. Because the only danger is in not starting.
Mm,
The only disappointment is in not starting at all. But if you're willing to start at any age and you're willing to dedicate the time to learn and cultivate that gift,
yeah.
like there's no timeline on what you can learn. God has given us infinite, knowledge and wisdom and an ability to absorb information and learn techniques. And guitar is really just about muscle memory.
Mm,
And if you practice, if you dedicate your time to getting those fingers right,
yeah.
and learning your fretboard and learning the technique, there's no reason at any age that you
Mm,
should not thrive on it.
yeah. I love that. I love that. It's so disheartening when I hear people say like, I'm too old to do this. I'm too old to try that. Almost like they're incapable of learning, they're incapable of, but I really feel like it's just the fear of, again, people's judgment. Like, oh, this person is, older than this age and they're trying to learn guitar. What's the point? I actually took a couple of guitar classes with PG Parks and Rec. And in my classes where they were all older people, like over 60. And I love that. And I'm sitting here like looking at myself like, girl, I'm saying, you worried about being 30. Like, these people some of them are well into their 70s. And again, that air of like not caring, which I think maybe comes along with like becoming older and becoming more mature.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you just stop caring about, about certain things. But I love that. So you talked about a little bit of your journey, like how your mother gave you the guitar when you went to college. How did you get from, I guess, just being gifted the guitar to where you are now? Like, what was that like navigating through your, I guess, career path?
So I've always been a person who just launches out. I just like throw myself off the side of the mountain.
I like that.
I don't know what it's good. I'm not gonna literally throw myself off a side. I'm not adventurous in that regard. Like
Right.
I'll do some adventurous things, but like that life altering
Yes.
guide, no. But when we're talking about this,
Mm,
I like to leap out. And so
mm,
what I did initially, because I have a gift of administration and I
mm,
also have a gift of design,
mm,
I just launched right out. I started singing, of course, for church. Any opportunity that I could get to sing, I
mm,
would take it.
mm,
And then it progressed into, from me just singing for my church to people asking me to sing for theirs. And then as things progressed, it turned into like me hosting events. So I would host my own events. And then also, performing out at different places that were not church based.
yeah.
If I saw that a community was having a fair or, a community event,
Mm,
I would, sign up for their event. So a mix of like people asking me and me just seeing opportunities and just going for it. I jumped on this site called Sonic Bids.
Okay.
and they have a lot of different opportunities. So I just put myself out there, as much as I could. And I like was performing pretty heavily, as of like a few years ago. I slowed down a lot,
Yeah.
especially now. But
We ain't got no choice.
yeah, so it just was me putting myself out there, accepting invitations and also getting my administration together, doing research, studying, some things when it comes to being an independent artist and how to best set up things professionally for myself. It helps that I'm a graphic designer, so I was able to do my website and make sure my stuff looked, nice and
Right.
professional and that kind of thing. I also did radio for some years, and me and my best friend started a radio called Thursday Soul Radio, and we ran that for some years. And so, I was able to, meet other artists and other people,
Yeah.
and I was able to learn a lot, through doing that and seeing how other artists function and that kind of thing. How they professionally send emails.
Yeah.
So, so it just a lot of observation, a lot of research went into it. Money, of course,
Well, girl.
went into it, and a lot of trial and error. I
Yeah.
bumped my head a lot.
Yeah.
I really did, and I just had to keep taking each lesson and
Mm.
apply it to the next situation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been a work in progress. I recently have slowed down, mostly because I've been focused on girls and guitars, and just kind of, and also as a guitarist, I felt like I have this whole guitar movement.
Okay.
I said, but I'm not where I need to be on the guitar. And if
Mm.
I'm going to lead other women when it comes to this instrument, I need to step my game up. So I've been taking time off. I've been working with Jen to get my own guitar chops up, so
Yeah.
that I can be a better representative of our organization. So
Yeah.
I've kind of been focused on those things. But that's how I started. I didn't have like one little method. I just sort of dove in and did use my my different skill sets to
Yeah.
try to create a system that worked for me as an artist.
Yeah. I like that. Because I think a lot of people don't start because they're trying to figure out what to do. And I really do believe that sometimes you don't know until you start, until you do it. Like the clarity comes from moving, like not just from sitting there trying to figure, oh, because like you said, like you don't know. There are a lot of things that like were trial and error. Like in one moment might have seemed like a good idea. And then you learned, okay, maybe this isn't the best idea. Maybe this way is better, but you'll never know the perfect way. I mean, what is the perfect way? But you'll never know like the better way until you actually do them.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. That's encouraging. That's encouraging for me. um, so talking about the music and how it's like, I've heard that you talked about, you've been able to meet people through music and cultivate community. What other role has music played in your life? Like, how has it impacted your life?
I would say it has, I don't know, music, like it just it has the power to like lift my spirits. It makes me think. There's so many like different qualities about music um, that help to empower me as a person and help kind of get my gears going.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might be, feeling sorry for myself or feeling some kind of way, or
Yeah.
And music has a way of sort of just pushing you out the front door.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also just allowed me to connect with so many people, and make so many good friends. Girls and Guitars has been really pivotal. Pivotal. That's what I get for it's a big word. Trying to sound all intelligent. But it has been helpful for just connecting me to. I've met some amazing artists who are good people, like really good people. And I'm thankful for that, because if it were not for music, I wouldn't have met these folks,
Yeah.
And they've, been, so many people have been an encouragement to me. I've been able to, encourage others and develop different sisterhoods and friendships and that kind of thing through music.
Yeah.
So, and two of my best friends, they both do music,
Yeah, that's cool.
One of them I met, both of them I met through music, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
So it's been like pretty serious thing in my life.
Yes, that's beautiful. And I want to talk about Girls and Guitars. So how did you even come up with this idea? How did you come up with the idea, and how has it grown so much? Like, I mean, I don't know if like you think that it's grown, but it's encouraging to watch, and it's inspiring for me to see like the growth that's been happening. And, even seeing people that I know, like Rolanda, like how she was a part of one of the showcases and things like that. I'm like, wow, this is dope. So like, how did that even come to be?
Yeah, so Girls and Guitar started in 2016. It was really birthed out of something that you've said before for, how you started your organization. That you're looking for something but you don't really see it, so you create it.
Yeah.
Um, as an artist, I hung around a lot of hip hop artists, a lot of urban artists. I didn't quite feel like I fit in with like the gospel market because I just wasn't wasn't really my thing. And so, Girls and Guitars sort of just came about as, I wonder like if there are more, like how can I connect with other girls who play and sing? It's just really that simple. It wasn't anything too serious. And I took to Instagram and started like finding all sorts of artists. And then we decided to go ahead and do a showcase because I was like, there's quite a few like artists out here. We did our first showcase and I was like, yo, this is like, yes, it's a thing. And so we like went running with it because it was a need, that just the encouragement I got from the different artists who were on our first showcase, and even from the audience. We had a packed house and people just watching their faces, as the artists were performing, and seeing the artists sort of like engaging with other artists, or like watching the other artists when it was so much, the room was just filled with empowerment.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is what I like. This is what I want to be surrounded around. And so it sort of took wings on its own. And we did showcase after showcase. And, we even traveled. We performed in Tennessee. We performed in Georgia and Virginia, down in Virginia Beach. Like I just started like setting up events in places that I was like, oh shoot, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if anyone's gonna show up. This is crazy. But finding artists in those areas and taking a few of our local artists on the road with us, and everything has like done well. It's done what God wanted it to do, and my mind has been blown, to be honest. It's more so about him sort of taking this little bit of faith that I had and like saying, oh, you think that? Okay, you think that's something? Okay, here.
Yes. I love those moments.
Yeah. So now we've bloomed into, getting beyond just the showcases, but now I want to see us step our game up. I want to see us thrive as musicians as well as artists. A lot of us know how to play just well enough to get by, or just well enough to play and sing for ourselves. There's so many opportunities out here that we could take advantage of if we perfected our understanding of our instrument and learned how to play it, to our best ability, and get, out of our box. And so that is my kind of next level plan for Girls and Guitars. And so we've done this so far with Girls and Guitars University, which we're starting to work on a virtual platform for education. So I'm already, my guitar teacher, actually, we're talking about, we're going to be meeting about the lessons and just trying to like film those, and, having like all women instructors. That's my goal, my hope, my prayer.
Love that.
All women instructors to teach, music business, to teach instruments, guitar, ukulele, and bass. We'll probably start off with just the guitar though, and then evolve into the others. And then, also songwriting. So some of the foundation things that make a singer-songwriter, guitarist successful, all of those ingredients have to be at 100%, especially the music business.
Yes.
So that's really the goal, is to create an educational platform so that we can learn how to, be professionals.
Yeah.
And then also we've started some community building within our ranks. So we do Circle of Fifths, which is a monthly get together virtual, which you need to be in.
Yes, cool. I'm down.
Girls, we're all learning.
Yeah.
And we get together and we just talk about everything that has to do with songwriting and guitar and life, and just encouraging, knowing that we're in the same, we're on the same playing field here. We are, pun intended.
Yeah. That was clever. That's cute.
And coming together, because the biggest thing, like you said, that sisterhood is important, and
yes.
And no competition. We're together in this. We're all trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes, some are more advanced than others, but they can pull up the other and they can show them, this is what I did. I've learned so much from these girls. Like, we be sharing information and everything. So, Circle of Fifths is another thing. So, and then there's a lot of other things that we want to do. And eventually we want to have our own facility, which is a huge project.
That's exciting.
And I have the vision laid. I just need God to give me the direction, the path there. And but one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about this movement because it's just sort of like blown my mind to see the effect that it's had so far.
Yeah. I love seeing you talk about it. Like your face like lights up when you talk about Girls and Guitars. Like I love people literally doing what they're passionate about. You know what I mean? And while, even if it looked different, even if it wasn't about guitars, like it seems like sisterhood and community and like cultivating that community is really important to you. And I love that thought of no competition. Like there doesn't need to be competition. We can all win. We can all survive and thrive. And I actually like community better than just doing it alone. When you go it alone, you just feel so like, one, what am I doing? But then two, that no one really gets it. And so I think like communities like what you're talking about, Circle of Fifths, which is really, really clever, clever name. I think stuff like that is so important to creatives, especially, but also musicians. So
when you're not in community, you're cheating yourself. Keeping yourself out of different perspectives and out of, an ability to improve and get better, because there's just so much wealth in seeing what someone else is doing and them and learning from each other and encouraging and empowering each other towards great. So you're really cheating yourself if you choose to just walk by yourself. You don't have to,
Yeah, that dragged me because yes, if you're not in a community, you're cheating yourself. Yes, I love that.
Cheat yourself.
Yes.
I feel like my hair is getting bigger.
Girl, it looks good. Okay. It's cute. Listen, that's what natural hair does. It does what it wants. It's just, it's free.
Black hair matters, honey.
Absolutely. In all forms. Absolutely. So I wanted to talk about singer-songwriter, because you look at the singer-songwriter space and it's usually flooded with white women. I mean, white women and some white men, but mostly white women. Do you ever feel like, how does it feel? Because I think I consider myself a singer-songwriter too. But I think like you, I couldn't really find my place. Like when I first started making music, I felt like I had to make gospel music, and that just wasn't me. I didn't have like the pipes for some of those songs. And, I resonated more with the singer-songwriter title. And when I was looking for us, like Black people, it was really hard to find. And maybe I just wasn't looking in the right places, because clearly they're out there. How does it feel, or do you have any thoughts about like being in such a, I guess, like a white dominated genre of music and finding your own voice and still holding on to yourself?
Yeah. So it's something I've noticed as well, even with Girls and Guitars and trying to look for images, all of those kind of things. Like, it's crazy. Like is no diversity.
Yeah.
It's really, when you hashtag Girls and Guitars, if you hashtag anything that deals with women in guitars, it's no diversity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things that I wanted to do with Girls and Guitars, is, as you see, we feature women of color. I've, it doesn't stop me. Like the fact that there's no diversity just makes me want to like ensure that there is diversity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when, as a graphic designer, one of my biggest pet peeves when I'm looking for images to use on our flyers is the fact that there's very few Black women.
Yeah.
There's a small pool to choose
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
images, and you can even look up Black female guitars and you'll get white women with Black t-shirts on.
Yes. Yes.
So it's definitely an area that needs growth. And I'm kind of making it my duty to, to work towards that change, through what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Me as an artist, and that's another reason why I'm trying to step my game up as a guitarist, because a lot of women in other cultures have had opportunities to, they've been taught at a young age, parents have handed certain things down.
Yes.
And it's just a part of their culture. Guitar is with country music, all that is that's So, we sort of have been at a disadvantage where that's concerned. I know my mom growing up, we didn't have money for me to be in no lessons or any of that kind of stuff, So, I just think that it's important to me to make sure that I step my game up as a musician so that I can, I don't know, make my people proud.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm taking my skill set to the, to higher levels.
Yeah.
Because if you get into a room with me and a whole bunch of, Caucasian women playing guitar, I'm probably going to be on the lower tier of skill set.
And that's honest. And it's almost like some of that, like even the guitar, right? Like the guitar was fashioned originally by, yes, it is all over the world in different forms, but like Black folk, you know what I mean? Even country music, like it stems from like Black music. And it's crazy how, to me, and I get it, because a lot of people, and I'm just saying this as generalization, a lot of Black people, like you said, didn't have access to those things. I remember when I was in school and I wanted to join band and I couldn't afford the instrument, you know what I mean? And so I couldn't really pursue those things. And I like how you said with other cultures, it's just kind of woven in it. Like you go to Nashville, you go to these places where like music is a thing. Everybody got a guitar, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just a thing. Everybody learns how to play. And I love that you're trying to become better skilled, because I feel like that's honorable. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I also feel like as Black people, we've always had to go above and beyond. So you could be at the same skill set as somebody else, but it's automatically going to be assumed that maybe you don't have the skills. You know what I'm saying? So even if that's not fair, because it's not fair, you taking that and not saying, oh, well, forget it. Like saying, no, I'm going to be diligent in what, the skills and the abilities and the access that I have that, some people might not have access to that. And, making people proud. I feel like Black folk have always had to wear their people on their back. Like I'm doing this for all of us. Right. But I really feel like being diligent over what God has given you, no matter what portion it is, it's really important. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you, I think that's really honorable. I also wanted to touch on giving back. Now, I saw that you've also started something called Life Arts. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about that and how that came to be, or how you got that idea for that?
Yeah, so I had been working with a girls ministry at this church called Fellowship Baptist Church since 2010.
Okay.
And it was a group called the Virtuous Girls. And so I had been a part of that up until probably about a year or so ago. And we essentially every year, we had ongoing mentoring programs that we did every month. And then every year we did this like creative experience for girls ages 8 through, teenage, like 17, 18 years old. And we would, take the basement of the facility and we would, turn it into, we did like, tropical, we did under the sea, we did, one of them we did like a kind of like a glam, a glam type of thing. We did a superhero, type of thing. We create all of the decorations and stuff. The girls at the end love to take that stuff home. It's a mix of, it's exactly what it says, life and art. So lifestyle skills or life skills, I should say, and then creative art. So we had creative art activities for them to do throughout the day. It was a full day event. And then we would teach them life skill, everything from cosmetology to, sewing to, just anything you could think of. We had discussion forums, so it was just a full day of like help. We had the last one that we did, we had some local police officers, women come in and they
love that.
Had discussion with the teenagers, especially. And just like, and we talked about sex trafficking and like, that kind of stuff. So, it's just an avenue to show them professional women who are doing awesome things, help them to learn and grow as young women, give them some, guidance and direction and allow them to play and have fun.
Yes.
So, and learn about God. So it's been awesome. We actually took a pause last year, and then with all of this going on, it's just gotten crazy. But it's, since COVID has happened, I actually the same church I've been working with their youth ministry. So I'm working with both girls and boys, and so we're we're doing kind of like just some creative things online, trying to But life art's definitely like has always been my baby. I love like it's another one of those things that God really exceeded our expectations. And because you don't know if people will register, you don't know, you're putting a lot of time and care into it, lining up speakers, all of that stuff. And so you pray that people that the kids will want to be a part. And so it's always been a blessing. We've always had a good turnout, and the girls have given good reviews on how much they enjoyed themselves and what they learned and all of that. So, and it's cool because now some of those girls are in college, and I'm old.
No, you're not. It does feel weird though. You'd be like, wait, what? I know. How'd this happen?
You're in high school. Oh, okay.
Oh, so you grown. Okay. This is strange.
Oh, okay.
Right. No, but that is beautiful. It's always encouraging because I had a teacher in high school, and he said to us, when you have something, bring it back to your community, like bring it back, like whatever. And also like what you didn't have growing up. I don't remember many mentorship programs and, like people who are really, going to bat for Black young women back when I was in high school. But now, like, there are so many people who are like, you know what, I either had this and I want to share this, or I didn't have this. And so I want to improve someone else's life so they can avoid what I've had to go through, or, so they can have the support that I didn't have. Yeah. And so, I really wanted to talk about that because I was like, oh snap, like that is really cool. That's really cool. So yes, you already told me like what you want next for Girls and Guitars, but like, what do you want next for yourself? Like, I know you were talking about improving your skills and things like that, but what do you see for yourself coming up?
Yeah. So, to be honest, musically, I don't really have a clear picture right now, especially with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But what I would love to do is I would love to write for artists. I really want to get into that. And I would even love to like write for musicals or even be in a musical.
Yeah.
I've always been a Disney. Like I swear I should have like been born on the Disney Channel. I love, that kind of stuff. I love musicals. I love Disney and, that type of, Broadway, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I would love to get involved with those types of things. And, honestly, like I'm just focused now also on some like personal goals. Like I want to own a house.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to position myself to do those things because it's not something that I've had, we didn't grow up in a house, we've always lived in apartments and that kind of thing. And so, there's certain like generational things that I want to like, focus on doing
Absolutely.
differently. And so um I'm kind of focused on a mix of like my personal passions and
Mm.
also just some personal goals that will bring me some peace,
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's that's beautiful. Yeah. So what advice, so I want to ask you what advice you would give to somebody else, but I find that it might be helpful for people. If you can't think of any, like just off the top of your head, what advice would you give to yourself just starting out or even just like 10 years ago, that you think would be helpful for someone else, either just starting their journey or who is along in their journey and they're just trying to like, they might be discouraged, or feel like disconnected from the music because they're chasing the wrong things. Like what advice would you offer them?
I would say like be patient with yourself and have grace for yourself
Mm.
because we have in our mind this vision of the way that we think things should go, and sometimes it just didn't go that way. And sometimes we got to bump our heads. We got to learn some things the hard way and that kind of thing. So give yourself some room and to grow and grace. To follow your butt, but don't allow the hard things that you're going through or the insecurities that you have, which typically are lies. Don't allow those things to keep you from pursuing and keep you from launching out, because your gift is too valuable,
Yeah.
and somebody, it's not even really, I have this song called Wildflower, and the song like talks about the fact that the reason that you need to do this is so someone else can see the creator through you.
That's beautiful.
They,
Yeah.
they can see just what God can do, through your life. They'll see, wow, they came from this and look at where they are. Look at Tyler Perry, for instance.
Yeah.
Like he used to be homeless and now he owns his own, like,
Yeah.
knows how much money, uh, uh, industry,
Hmm.
So it's just, go easy on yourself. When you fall, when you have moments of bumping your head, really sit back and think on it
Hmm.
and assess, how you can use this to better the next
Yeah.
situation or scenario.
Yeah.
There's always a lesson in it. God doesn't let us just go through stuff just to go through it. He's not just like entertained by our demise. That's
Mm.
not his ammo. It's not who
Mm.
he is. There's always something that we can grab from it, and learn. And so yeah, that would just be my encouragement.
Mm.
Um, and just be confident. It's not easy to be confident when you're, before when I used to get up in front of people, like I was always hard on myself about my weight and stuff like that. Like, or I didn't feel like, oh, I didn't look like these artists or that artist or, so I was kind of hard on myself. I was hard on my voice because
Mm.
I felt like you said, and I have the gospel chops.
No. Yeah, I get you.
Know that you don't need them to be successful,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
That goes back to not caring,
Yeah.
if you can. But, like cut yourself some slack and learn how to use your voice and use there's so much more that's good about you
Mm.
than these little insecurities that you seem to harp on, these little things that you think are so like terrible.
Yeah.
There's so much more good about you. So focus on those things and the
Mm.
things that you can control and change and upgrade, do that.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you are who you are. You're where these pounds ain't, I'm losing them, slowly, but still, like, there's
Yeah.
still some roles there.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let that keep me from being great.
Yeah.
Just a thing. It's just a part of my journey. And I'm going to have to appreciate that, and because if you don't appreciate the now, you're going to always find a problem with when you get there.
Yeah.
You're always going to
Mm.
nitpick at something. There's going to be something that you're not
Mm.
satisfied with because the real issue is the inside. It's not the exterior things that are so focused on.
Yeah.
So I know it's like saying a mix of things here,
No,
but
no.
we just be courageous and confident in who you are as you are in
Yeah.
the here and now, knowing that you're on a journey. We're all on a journey. We're evolving. I'm not going to be the same person I am now in
Yes.
5, 10 years from now, because I'm gonna have learned, I'm like a lot more no nonsense. And I'm like I don't really care. Oh, you don't like me? Oh, Emoji.
All right.
I don't know what to do for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do
Yeah.
anything for you. So okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, you change over time, you
Yeah.
grow. So cut yourself a break.
Yeah.
Biggest piece of lesson. Cut yourself a break.
Yeah. I loved every word of that. You said you were saying a lot of stuff, but everything was like hitting. It was like, yes, yes. And I'm trying not to respond because I know when I talk, like the voices compete, but everything you were saying was like dead on, dead on. And I know this is going to encourage other people because it's encouraging me. It definitely is. Thank you for that. I also have one more question. You are a woman who juggles a lot of things, a lot of different parts of your life. And I know for some people, those parts kind of run together. But how do you take care of yourself? How do you take care of yourself mentally, spiritually? How do you rejuvenate? How do you, because you can't be working all the time, you know what I mean? So what are some things that you do to keep your mental health and your spiritual health and your physical health? How do you do that? How do you do all those things, but also keep those things in check?
Yeah. So you know, to be truthful, I don't do as good a job with that as I
Okay.
should. But the things that I know that I should be doing is to take breaks. You know, I can sometimes like be a workaholic and just work straight through. So like
Same.
even even like today I was working and like um I had to say, you need to take a lunch break. You
Mm,
need to take a break. It's okay to take 30 minutes away, to go get something to eat, breathe,
yes.
step away from the screen, you know, etc. So those are little things that you can do. Just take a break, step
Mm,
away, walk outdoors, you know.
yes.
This over the what I like to do on the weekend a lot of times is just get out in nature,
Mhm.
and you know, there's just something about just being out in the park.
Yeah.
And we have in our area, we have like a park that has like lakes and all that stuff. It's really nice. And so I like to just get out and just like sit by the water and breathe and
Yeah.
just soak it in, you know?
Yeah.
Might even write a song or something.
Yes.
To the park the last time I went, and I just was out there playing and stuff.
Mm.
And so like just doing little things that bring you a little sense of peace and joy. I have not mastered the art of taking as good care about myself as I should. I will say this.
Mhm.
Um, I've been vegan since it's been about 5 years now.
Okay.
But at the top of this year, I decided to stop eating sugar.
Mm.
So I've been cutting out like the sweets, the junk food, all of that stuff. I cut it out of here. And I know it's the hard thing,
The
but I was
struggle.
addicted. I
Yeah.
was addicted to sugar.
Yeah.
And slowly and when I stopped doing that, when I tell you my whole diet changed, my
Mm.
whole relationship with food changed.
Mhm.
I don't emotionally eat anymore. I only eat when I'm hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so diet, you know, having a healthy lifestyle
Mm.
is a part of your self-care.
Yeah.
And especially as Black people, like if I had a
Yes.
big garden, and that's one of my goals when I get a house,
When you get your house, yes.
is being able to have enough fruits and vegetables and things to be able to give to community and stuff, because I want to see my people thrive. And
Girl.
we've eaten, I don't know how many friends that I've talked to or people that I've talked to, and just be like, well, you know, I mean, we're going to die sometime. So, you know, and just eat whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It's all tied to emotional eating and how we feel. And, you know, for some, that's all the joy that we get is
Yeah.
a
That's
meal.
good. Yeah.
And so, gotta find a way to break that. So, self care is a lot about. It's more than just me going to a therapist, or you know, and that's important too. It's more than just
Yes.
going to a therapist. For me, I don't have a therapist, but like I mentioned earlier, my guitar teacher, like we've really had kinship in being able to really
Yes.
talk. So having someone that you can confide in is really important.
Hmm.
They can help you see things from a different perspective, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just go back over what we talked
You're
about.
good.
Self-care is definitely about your, you know, diet
Yeah.
and about the things that you're putting in your body,
Yeah.
because you want to be 100% healthful. Spiritually, you know, spending time. I definitely like have been trying to step my game up with the devotional
Mm.
stuff. I'm pretty sure this COVID stuff has definitely boosted it a little bit more for everybody.
Sure.
Like, hey, Lord, we get it.
Right.
We get it. But just knowing that your spiritual well-being and just sort of having that connection with God is help. It's part of your overall health as well.
Yeah.
You can't have, one without the other. Spiritual health, physical health, because, it makes no sense to, you know, to be Christian, to, do all these things spiritually, but then not treat the body that God gave you.
Right.
With utmost, respect, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and care, because He wants you to live long life.
Absolutely.
He doesn't want us to die young and early and heart disease and just diabetes and all that. He doesn't want us to go out like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, and then there was one last thing. Oh, and then the fitness aspect. I exercise like 4 to 5 days a week.
Okay.
It took me so long, my entire life, to actually get this down as far as coming up with a regimen and like sticking to it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Like,
it's
I
hard.
made so many excuses.
Yeah.
I would not feel like it. I'd be sad, depressed, upset, or I just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
It's been a long day,
Yeah.
When I started doing those things, like when I tell you, like I felt so much better. And you want to be able to, as an artist, you want to be able to give people the best of you,
That's good. Yeah.
There's a lot of running around you do. You get fatigued mentally, emotionally, because people are constantly, tugging on you for something or another.
Yeah.
They want to ride you up and down the beltway,
Yeah.
and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
You want to be at your best.
Yes.
You want to be a whole person. So I would say my goal for me to, when it comes to self-care, is paying attention to every aspect of, my needs as a person, from the spiritual on down to the physical, the diet, the food, the exercise, time with God, time to just breathe and be out in nature, or do something that brings me happiness and joy, play cards, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. No, yeah. That part about playing and just doing stuff just for the sake of it, that is joy bringing, like it replenishes. I do feel like God wants us to play. Like, look at His creations. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're indoors all day, we're working, which we have to do sometimes, but He wants us to enjoy His creations. And what better way to enjoy it than to take joy out in His creations, or like with the people He created, or with the things, laughter. Like, these are things He wants us to experience. So I love that. So as we start to wrap up, where can people find you? Like, what's your address, web address, everything? Like, how can people keep up with you?
Yeah, so I can be found in 2 places. One is kylasimone.com. The other one is girlsandguitarsofficial.com. Those are my 2 sites where you can find everything. And I love Instagram. I probably use Instagram way more than Facebook, but you can find us both on Instagram and Facebook. So you can find Kyla Simone or Kyla Simone Music on Instagram. And then you can find Girls and Guitars Official. We're on all platforms as Girls and Guitars Official. So I don't really use Twitter all like that. So yeah. When I do, then I'll let you know.
Okay. No worries. And I'll put the contact information, everything in the description wherever this is going to be shared.
Okay.
So now that we reached the end of this episode, I do want to play a song from you. So can you tell me what song you want me to play, and kind of like, I guess, like a little blurb about it, or like the backstory about the song? And
Okay, sure. Let's do Wildflower.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. So Wildflower it's such a both like a whimsical type of imagine yourself out in a field with a long skirt, long braid, just swaying like this. It is a song for all generations to remind us of the importance of growing where you've been planted and not looking around at others for your measure on who you should be, but to embrace where you are, what resources you do have, use those to your very best, to the
Yeah.
best of your ability.
Yeah.
And watch how God will take those little seeds and grow them beyond what you even imagined. And the reason that we need to do this is not simply just for our own joy and satisfaction,
Mm.
but because other people need the encouragement. They need to see someone doing something that they've been wanting to do, but haven't had the courage to step out and do.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what Wildflower is.
Awesome. That sounds beautiful. But thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for taking the time after work, just to come and sit and talk with me for an hour. So, so thank you so much again. And yay. And so thanks so much for watching, y'all. Please follow her. Please check her out. And I will play the song right now. Bye.
Wildflower grow, look how your petals rise, glisten in the light. Wildflower grow, color the mountainside, let it come alive. You were made to uplift the nations, out their pain and sorrow. You were made to change generations, give them hope for tomorrow. Oh, 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 keep growing and growing and growing. Oh, 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 keep growing and growing and growing. Wildflower grow, be bold where you're planted, used where you've landed. Wildflower grow, live light with abandon, the world as your canvas. You were made to uplift the nations, out their pain and sorrow. You were made to change generations, give them hope for tomorrow. Oh, oh, oh. Growing, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Keep growing and growing. Grow so the ones who don't know who they are can see the Creator in you, yeah. Grow so the ones feeling lost and alone can see what trust in the Maker can do, yeah.